And we're on Chapter 6, Lesson 2, our essential question, how does division affect numbers? And we're estimating quotients. There are different ways to estimate quotients. One way is to use compatible numbers. Compatible numbers are numbers that are easy to compute mentally because they are multiples. So I've written out the multiples of 8. Why 8? Because that's what's in our problem. Let's look. Circuses have been around for more than 200 years. They sometimes travel by train. Suppose a circus travels 642 miles in 8 hours. Estimate the quotient of 642 and 8 to find about how many miles per hour the train travels. Side note, extra information, 200 years is not needed to solve this problem. So they just threw that in there as a challenge for us, but we're not going to get tricked. So our basic problem is 642 divided by 8, and in rounding it, we see it rounds to 640, which conveniently is a multiple of 8. If it was not, we'd have to look for the closest multiples, but since it's right there, it makes it easier for us. And as you can see here, they've got 640 divided by 8. And our basic fact is in red here, 64 divided by 8. Now we can use our multiples list to find that we've got that compatible number to find out how far down that is, and that will give us our quotient. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 jumps down, which means 8 times 8 is 64, which it tells us here in the box. 8 times 8 is 64. And since we've got this 0 on, we also have to move our decimal or add a 0 onto our quotient. So the train is traveling about 80 miles per hour. Now, same lesson, example 2 on page 336. Isabella has 6 tea sets in her collection. The collection is worth $1,168. Wow! Each tea set is worth about the same amount of money. About how much is each tea set worth? So we're going to estimate 1,168 divided by 6 because she has 6 tea sets. We know we can estimate because of that about word that's there. And we're going to use our compatible numbers. And compatible numbers is just another way to say multiples. So I've written my multiples. Unfortunately, I didn't have to write them very far because I can see that 1,168 is close to 1,200. 1,200 is handy because, look, it has that basic of 12, which is a multiple of 6. So here's our basic fact, 12 divided by 6. And on our number line, 1, 2, it's 2 jumps down, which makes our basic fact 12 divided by 6 equals 2. And you can check it in your head by saying 2 times 6. 2 times 6 does equal 12, so I know that part's right. And I've got 2 extra zeros. I've gone up to the thousands place. So I need to add 2 extra zeros on my quotient. So each tea set is worth about $200 would be my complete sentence answer. Basic fact and place value, 6 times 2, 6 times 20, 6 times 200. And that's basically how these are solved. So when you're working on your own, yes, you do need to check your work by showing the multiplication, so please make sure you do that. Also, I'll be looking for your multiples list for those who need the help of your multiplication chart or you're memorizing your multiple fact. And you can see the basic fact here, which was as far as I needed to go when I'm doing my multiples chart. So that'll help you get your division, and then I'll be looking for your check. Also, I found a grammar mistake. Anybody who finds the mistake in the guided practice, I will give you $1. Otter dollar. I want to point out really quickly when you get to your independent practice, most of these, it's pretty clear when you round it that will be the same as the basic fact. The first time that is different is on number 5. This is the first problem where your basic fact will not be what you get when you just look at those two. So if you're looking at 34 and you write out your 7s, you'll see that 34 isn't on the list. So you're going to have to rather than using 34, you're going to have to use your multiples there. That'll happen again on 6 and 7. So check for that. And don't let it trick you up when you get to those other problems. Also, on the last page of your classwork 338, number 14 has a piece of extra information. So you've got 5 members of the family hiking for 6 days, and this cost of $2,475. One of these pieces of information is unnecessary in order to solve the problem, so please read carefully and figure out which one that you don't need, and use the right ones to solve the problem. Also, don't forget your complete sentence answers. Thank you.